Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. So I'm starting to realize that one of the most fundamental aspects of our life is whether we believe in a God or not. And then maybe a little more important is, or a higher power. And then maybe a little more important is whether or not we choose to seek to follow that or align ourselves with that. And then even maybe most important or more specific is how we view God, how we define the divine. And I'm realizing that there's kind of two primary ways of orienting towards God. One of them I call transcendent, and the other immanent. And what does transcend means? It means up and above, transcendental, something very different from all of this. Whereas immanent means very close, inward. And so I've through the teachings of Bruno Groening, I've recognized that there's two really primary ways of viewing God and really viewing life. God up and away, far away from all of this. That God is very different from life, from our bodies, and is very separate from us. That in essence, we don't share our essence with God. There's almost as if we have nothing in common with God. And such religions and such paths tend to view the body as a trap, life sometimes as a trap or even a punishment, something to be escaped. Whereas the teachings of Bruno Groening have a very different view of God and God's closeness and God's relation with creation. And the view I was just speaking of, it's like God created everything and then is very separate from it. But according to our friend Bruno, God created everything and yet is also in everything. And that includes us. And that these bodies we have are very sacred. Bruno calls them a divine gift, a precious gift from God. And that life itself is God. And that this world and creation is sacred. The first view of life, the transcendental view of life, sees creation as, again, something to escape from. Some versions of it see creation as an illusion, that none of this actually exists. Whereas Bruno Groening points to all of this as a very sacred, holy creation of God and even a gift of God, that life is a gift. So let's check in with ourselves. Are we trying to escape from life? Or, Bruno Groening calls us to seek to escape from evil. The energy that makes life not fun. If we're seeking to escape from life, according to Bruno Groening, we don't actually understand life. Life is a beautiful gift, a precious, and life on this earth, Bruno Groening said, was a high grace. I'm not judging anyone, and I don't want anyone to judge themselves, because I've spent a lot of my life wanting to escape my life because it was very painful. And thanks to Bruno Groening, I've finally recognized the source of that pain. It's not life, it's evil. In the transcendental view, life itself is unsatisfying and sort of corrupt. According to the teachings of Bruno Groening, life is sacred and holy. And it's been tainted by evil, but life itself is still beautiful, still good, still holy. So part of this journey is healing from that transcendent, and transcendence is just the word I use. There might be another more accurate word. Maybe separatist. This view that God is separate from us and separate from creation, and that life is separate from God. So part of this journey is healing that and coming to know and experience God in everything and recognize God in everyone. Or more accurately, or at least to represent what Bruno Groening taught more accurately, to say that God lives within everyone. Not that everyone is God. When once asked, or Bruno Groening once said, "I'm not God." He said, "We're all God," meaning we're all children of God. There's many, a lot of it modern, but with roots in there are ancient teachings that say that everyone is God. Whereas Bruno Groening points out that everyone, the soul, is divine and that God lives within us. Maybe the right word is duality. This idea of that there are two things and they're completely separate. There's creation and God. Where for Bruno Groening, the two are very intimately linked. Yes, they're not the same, but given that God lives in everything, they're also not different. Thank you so much for joining in.